Nation with Tim Donner.
When Donald Trump shocked the world with his election as president in 2016, we knew things would change in our relationship with the world, and they certainly did. But now, with Trump gone and a career politician with a more conventional view of foreign policy in the Oval Office, will we return to the days of Barack Obama and the worldview of the globalist establishment? Or did Trump make changes in foreign and defense policy that are likely to last, even through the administration of a president who has vowed to remove every last remnant of the Trump era? Joining us to ponder that question and others on defense and international relations is the former principal deputy under the Secretary of Defense, J. David Patterson of LibertyNation.com. Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you, Tim. It's great to be with you, as always.
Indeed, same here. Now, the border crisis, Dave, seems to have demonstrated that Joe Biden will go out of his way to discard everything Trump did, whether it was working or not, to do his best to act as if Trump was never president. Can we expect him to do the same as he's done at the border in other areas of foreign policy and national security?
I think the short answer is yes. You know, people believe that they elected a president and they're dead wrong. Actually, what they elected was a far left committee. And the only thing that distinguishes one member of that committee from another is the means by which they propose to destroy America. And I think we're seeing that. I mean, take a look at what's happening on the border, as you brought up. I mean, this is a disaster, a crisis of, one would say, biblical proportions. And it appears as though this administration is incapable of doing anything substantive to alleviate the problems.
Dave, let's talk about the reaction of the world to the defeat of Donald Trump and the ascent of Joe Biden. How has the world reacted, as best you can describe it?
I think that the nations fall actually into two camps. In the one camp, you have most of the Europeans, the Russians, the Chinese Communist Party, Iranians, and North Koreans. They're delighted with Biden. They kind of see him as a feckless, feeble, easily manipulated for each of their own various reasons. Now, then there are the U.S. friends in the Middle East who are, quite frankly, unhappy about this. They see Biden basically in the same way, as feckless, feeble, and easily manipulated, but are not capable of continuing what was an enormous step in the region, and that was the Trump-enabled Abraham Accords.
Right, and those 4 Mideast peace treaties that were forged by the Trump administration are barely mentioned. And Joe Biden, I don't know whether he's going to discard those like he has everything else. But let's talk about China for a little bit here. It's hard to believe, Dave, that Americans would elect a longtime pro-China apologist of a president in the wake of the Wuhan virus. But they did. The perception on the right is that the Chinese will eat Biden's lunch, that he's severely compromised because of the Hunter Biden revelations and his repeated defense of the Chinese over the years, and not capable of standing up to them. Do you agree?
Yeah, I do. When Secretary of State Blinken and National Security Advisor Sullivan met with the Chinese in Alaska recently, you know, the words from the U.S. were very strong and I think accurate. Unfortunately, the Chinese were not there to have a give and take conversation. They were there to set the geopolitical stage, and they, in fact, turned that event into a geopolitical theater. Can you imagine the Chinese telling former President Trump, or Secretary Pompeo for that matter, that the U.S. is not qualified, quote, to speak to China from a position of strength?
Finally, Dave, Trump famously pulled us out of the Iran nuclear deal signed by Barack Obama. It was a deal, not a treaty, not Senate ratified. Where does Biden want to take us in our relationship with Iran?
Well, I think that President Biden would just probably like to take us back to some sort of a negotiating arena with Iran. But his problem is that apparently the Iranians don't have much of an appetite for that until the United States takes off all the sanctions and puts us back into a position of less than ideal. And if the Biden administration follows the Obama playbook, then he's probably willing to agree to most anything and get nothing in return or very little.
Hi, I'm Lisa K. Donner, along with Mark Angelides, Sarah Cowgill, Tim Donner, and Scott Cosenza, and this is Liberty Nation.
Now let's take a look at the LibertyNation.com electoral leaderboard. It's still 238 for Joe Biden.
What if stories and legends can offer us the key to unraveling the hottest political issues of the day and apply their lessons to understanding the chaos of modern politics?
Impeach 45!
Only where freedom of speech is honored can people who look, sound, or think differently be truly free.
If you're discussing something that's difficult, the probability that you're not going to offend each other is zero.
President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
Donald J. Trump is now president.
With one click, Liberty Nation delivers tomorrow's news.
And remember, liberty.
Today.
All the time and everywhere.
LibertyNation.com.